Thank you for joining us. Thanks for waiting for a few minutes while we Joey wrapped up on a couple last questions there.
No worries.
All right, just a friendly reminder to our media, if you have a question, once again, feel free to use the raise your hand option within the Zoom platform, or feel free to send us a chat and we'll monitor those as well. We already have a few questions in the queue, so we're gonna get started. And let's start with Zach from the Pocono Record. Go ahead, Zach.
John Hunter, I know this is going to be your first Cup race here at Pocono. What can you use from your previous experiences here, especially considering there's not going to be any practice on the track this time around?
Well, I think experience is everything, right? From running a truck to an Xfinity car and now to the Cup car. At least with the Cup car package, it drives a little bit like a truck around Pocono as far as kind of the downforce and drag that you have. The Xfinity car races that I've run there have been drag duck races with the lower horsepower. So pretty much everything I've ever run around Pocono has been a lower horsepower package, higher downforce package. So I feel like being able to have that experience in the past and just having laps at Pocono is definitely going to be beneficial. I feel like everywhere I go this year, pretty much in a Cup car, is for the first time with no practice. So you just have to adapt fast and move forward and try and do the best that you can every single lap. And having the double header, Saturday is more of a learning day. Hopefully we can still run very well and do great things on Saturday. But if not, then we can take what we learned from Saturday and put it into Sunday and gain that experience in a little bit of a notebook and just try and be better for Sunday.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Claire B. Lane. Claire, go ahead.
All right. Can you hear me good?
We have you.
Okay, great. As a young driver with not a ton of experience, how much, some people say, well, 2 races, that's a lot in the weekend. And then others say, well, that'll give you a better chance to learn on Saturday and then improve it on Sunday, right? How do you look at that?
Yeah, I like running multiple races in one weekend. If I could run all 3 series, I would. Just being able to race as much as possible and be on the racetrack as much as possible. Every time that you're on the racetrack, you're learning. I don't feel like fitness for myself from running 2 races in one weekend is going to play a huge factor as far as being out of shape or anything. So I feel good about it. I feel like Saturday to Sunday, you can always learn things on Saturday and hopefully you can apply it to Sunday. Kind of like we did at Charlotte, and Darlington wasn't that great for us, but Charlotte, we learned a lot in the Coke 600 on Sunday, and we went back Wednesday and had an even better run and a better finish. So it's all what you can take away from the experience side and the note side, and just try and build that notebook of experience.
And what do you as a driver still at this point find really hard about Pocono?
All 3 corners are different. How to set up your car to go around all 3 corners, and how to make sure that your car handles well enough to make the straightaways longer. It's a tricky racetrack. That's why they call it the Tricky Triangle.
Thanks a lot, man. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Casey Campbell. Casey, go ahead.
Oh, thanks, Amanda. Hey, John Hunter. Front Row Motorsports has been, and you have been running some very good runs since the return from the pandemic. What do you think has gone into that?
Well, I definitely think from the standpoint of not having practice has gone into that, but Front Row Motorsports as a whole has been trying to increase their program to become a contender every single weekend that we're at the racetrack. So being able to go and try and contend for top 10s and top 5s and wins and just have the speed in our cars. I feel like we've been able to get more speed in our cars so far this year, and we just want to continue to do so. And we need to strive to get the finishes as best as we can, and we just have to be able to close out races.
And Joey Logano was talking about, not having practice. When this pandemic is over, would you like to see practice and qualifying come back, or do you think that what we're doing right now with no practice, no qualifying, do you want to see that continue into the future, post-pandemic?
I think that's all circumstantial in the event and racetrack that we go to. If it's a place that we struggle at, then I definitely feel like you want to see practice. But if it's a place that you have a good notebook at and you feel comfortable about your setup and you feel comfortable about where you're going to start and how you're going to adjust on your car, then I like the no practice stuff. I feel like it creates an amazing race. I feel like everyone has been super racy and it's got a lot of the cars really close. I feel like when you have practice, some teams are able to get out in front of others on adjustment wise from how they make adjustments, how fast they can make adjustments, how well their simulation tools are and whatnot to be able to fine tune what they need to. And it gives some of the bigger teams an advantage. So having no practice for myself at Front Row Motorsports right now, I think is a little bit of a advantage to us, just from the resource side of maybe not being able to make the changes that some of the bigger teams with 4 cars can make, from different setup wise to if one of their teammates gets onto something, then all other 3 cars can switch to that setup. Whereas for myself at Front Row, it's just Michael McDowell and myself, and it's pretty much whichever one is better that weekend, that's what we end up going to.
All right. Thanks, John Hunter. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a question from Daryl Kinsey. Go ahead.
Following the same vein as practice, would you like to see NASCAR kind of take away some of the practice time when we get back to normal running? As it seems that from what you guys and what we've heard today when we've asked the drivers about it, a lot of them have said that the lack of practice time that you guys get has really improved the racing product on track. Yeah,
I definitely feel like the lack of practice time has improved some of the racing on track. I think it goes back to kind of what I was just saying, as far as some teams can get a bigger advantage than others through practice on making adjustments faster than others, or finding something through practice that others may not find, that they get that little bit of an advantage. Whereas with no practice, it comes down to you run what you brung and hope that you brought enough from the setup standpoint. And it goes back to communication with your team, with your engineers, with your spotter, with your crew chief, and hoping that you make the right decisions through the race. But I feel like some guys have short run speed, some guys have long run speed, and it mixes it up. Who's out front, who's racing, it completely mixes it up compared to trying to fine tune short run and long run speed in a car through practice and just focusing on that.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take one final question from Bob Pockers. Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, John Hunter, if they wanted to start practice again and you guys would need to have backup cars, do you have any idea like how close Front Row would be to being able to having backup cars ready every week?
Well, I'm sure that we have cars that are in the shop, some that aren't put together that would have to get put together. But I feel like all of our focus and attention at this point to try and run the best that we can with no practice has been putting all of our time and effort into our primary cars that we're going to run that weekend. Only having to take one car to the racetrack every single weekend kind of puts an emphasis on the fine details and fine tuning and going through the setup 2 or 3 times and being able to talk over what we're going to the racetrack with, compared to having to focus on building 2 cars for the same weekend and maybe not fine tuning all the details with the personnel that we have. So I'm sure that we could get it done. The backup cars, I probably wouldn't want to unload compared to the primary cars with all the fine details that we've put in. But I'm sure if it came down to it, the work hours and everything, we could get it done as an organization.
And also, can you take me back to Talladega in the finish and just what happened there?
Yeah, so sorry for the dogs barking. I apologize that if you guys can hear them. So the finish, we got down to the final few laps, and it was time to try and make a move, and we came down pit road and got gas there that last caution. We were really close on making it on our fuel, and our teammate ended up sputtering going down the back straightaway. I think coming to the white flag, and it was kind of in and out, running out. So I'm glad that Seth, my crew chief, made that call to come down and be on the safe side, but we got hooked up with Eric Jones in the middle lane there, coming through the tri-oval to the white flag, and then coming through the white flag down the back straightaway. Layla, that's enough. Sorry, Layla. Coming down the back straightaway, we're in the middle lane. The bottom had kind of stacked up, and I'm not sure what caused them to stack up. And Eric was behind, I think it was the 10 car or somebody pushing them. And we ended up all going to the outside lane and into turn 3. And I got hooked on to Eric Jones's bumper and kind of just started pushing him. I wish there would have been an in-car camera for his hands, because I know what the back of the car looked like as I was pushing him, and that thing was every which way from sideways. So it was an interesting technique. He made the move to go to the middle and kind of clear the top lane, and then he got a run, and we were hooked up, and we came through the tri-oval. And it was about the time that I had a lot of momentum. The 10 was kind of coming to my bumper, and I had pulled out, trying to get to his right rear quarter panel, and I got in there. And I felt like it was going to be kind of a photo finish at the line, 3 wide between the 12, Eric and myself. And when Blaney came up to block the 20, he kind of door checked him, which you've seen in a lot of super speedway races to try and kill momentum. And when he actually doored him, it turned Eric to the side or sideways, and it put him and myself in the fence. So what looked like it was going to be a promising day or a shot to win, we ended up finishing 8th. But overall, at super speedway races, all you can do is keep yourself out of trouble and put yourself in a position to have a shot to win it at the end. And we're able to do so. So you can't be disappointed about that.
Thank you.
All right, John Hunter, thank you so much for your time today. And we wish you the best of luck this weekend in Pocono.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry about the dogs again.
It's okay. That happens when you're on video, for sure. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.